ever heard of a thing called Star Wars?
Nah, dude. Not in the slightest. What a shitty way to start. Have you heard of Star Wars? Yes. Yes, I've heard of Star Wars.
Okay, cool. Then let's kick this off. Do you want to start off with the negatives or the positives?
Let's do the positives. The first 6 Star Wars movies. And The Mandalorian and Clone Wars. And bits of Rebels.
Okay, so I started watching Star Wars with A New Hope, as one rightfully should.
Absolutely.
Then
Fair.
watched Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And then Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the order that I watched them in. I used to watch them every morning, like every Saturday and Sunday. I just watched them on repeat.
Nice.
Empire Strikes Back I watched the least because I was terrified.
Fair enough.
Vader cutting off Luke's arm was the most horrendous thing I'd ever seen when I was that age. I couldn't watch it. So it was A New Hope, but I mostly loved to watch Return of the Jedi because that's when Luke got his green lightsaber and I was like, that's the coolest thing ever.
Fair. For me, I've got a very vivid memory of, this was like when I was back in a young'un, and Revenge of the Sith, I think, was coming out. And I was like, that looks pretty neat. What is it? My dad was like, oh, Star Wars. I know that, it's really good. And I was like, oh, where should I start? Because Revenge of the Sith was third. So, and he was like, well, 4 came out first, so I guess start there. Best decision ever. Loved it. Absolutely. Although, I'll caveat that by saying, have you heard of the Machete Order?
Yes.
Yeah.
Take it.
I fully believe in the Machete Order. Machete Order is 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. I think it's perfect. I think it is the order you should watch Star Wars in, especially if you're worried about conserving the whole Darth Vader twist.
That's the 4, 5, watch 1, 2, 3 as,
and then 6.
As a backstory.
And then you get 6, yeah.
Yep.
And literally, because not to be funny, but the gap between 5 and 6, like, it fits really well, especially when you first see Luke, he's in his dark robes.
Yes,
and if you've seen the prequels, it makes you think of Anakin and how he's at, especially with the fact that he basically gets offered the same choice Anakin did in that movie.
Also, he chokes someone for the first time in that movie too.
And not to be funny, but having the prequels backstory, you, like seeing Palpatine in the original trilogy is a baller moment. Because you find, like, this is the man that brings Darth Vader to heel. But when you watch the prequels first, you're like, oh god, Luke's gotta come up against Palpatine. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I love it. And then you get to the sequels.
How funny is it that Palpatine let himself get murdered the same way twice?
Dude, let's... Okay.
He bolted himself against Mace Windu, turning himself into that grotesque testicle, and then he let Rey do it again. And killed himself.
Let's save the Rise of Skywalker. Let's pace ourselves.
So I once had an argument with someone that he told me that there were only 5 Star Wars movies. I was like, but there are 6. This was before the most recent ones came out.
Okay, yeah.
And he, for some reason, did not know about Return of the Jedi. Which frustrated me to no end.
Did he like The Last Jedi?
Someone who, like, once they've decided in their own head, there was no convincing him that there was another movie.
That's mental, actually.
Oh,
do you think that would improve the sequel trilogy if you didn't have the ending of Return of the Jedi?
Where would you kick off from? What was your starting point?
What was your end point? Like, realistically, not being funny, did he then have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? So his end was Luke and Leia, like, standing on the bridge after getting their asses kicked, like...
I feel like, I don't know what order he watched it in. My feeling is that he didn't know that there was a number 4.
That's wild.
I feel like he started at Empire, watched Return of the Jedi, and didn't realize that there was A New Hope.
That's wild.
Or he went A New Hope straight to Return of the Jedi. Somewhere he was missing a movie, and, like, I just remember being incredibly frustrated trying to tell this person, like, there are 6 Star Wars films.
That's fair enough.
There are 6.
That's fair enough. Look, having said that, I think people give the prequels a lot of flack. Rightly so. The dialogue is horrendous, especially Attack of the Clones.
But, like, I didn't realize that until more recently, until I was older. When I was watching those movies when they first came out, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
No, sure. But I think that's why it doesn't stick as well as the OT, because the people who had the OT were like, they were older, not to be funny, but they were like, this is shit. Whereas you and me grew up on the prequels, and not to be funny, but honestly, the prequels are a really good story. Like, the story of Anakin Skywalker falling to the dark side is, well, it's Star Wars, like, at its core.
I did not know where the prequels were going when I watched them. Because when I watched the original 3, I was like, okay, cool, that's a set story, that's on its own. And then I saw the first one, The Phantom Menace. Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool, there's more Star Wars. And then it was explained to me, like, oh no, this happened years ago. So when Attack of the Clones came out, I was like, oh cool, there's Obi-Wan and young Anakin, the pod racer. Don't know why he's a Jedi, but sure. Yeah. And then, like, I actually got the interesting twist in Revenge of the Sith when I was young.
Oh, where you,
So that was like, I got doubles. I got the Vader twist. I got the Vader twist
again. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I will say, I think Revenge of the Sith is the best prequel movie. By and large, it is just fantastic.
Well, yes, because you have the most Anakin and Obi together, like, tension-wise, turning-wise.
Dude, that battle at Mustafar, how phenomenal.
The fights in all of them.
That's the thing. I will say, the one thing that the sequel trilogy really dropped the ball on was all the fights. Not being funny, there isn't one that really stands out in my mind. Like, even if you look at the original trilogy, you could argue that the lightsaber combat's a lot slower. Like, honestly, it kind of suits the time period. Yeah. Like, not being funny, but that Obi-Wan versus Vader matchup is perfect.
I remember, but yes, yeah.
No, but like, not to be funny, but especially post-Mustafar, having seen Revenge of the Sith, you know, getting that exposure, you don't need it to be that flashy.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it provides a great disconnect in terms of this is the Jedi at the height of his powers versus this is an old man and a cyborg and a dude who doesn't know what he's doing, you know, in Luke Skywalker. But the sequels haven't had a good lightsaber fight. Everyone always brings up The Last Jedi and Luke dodging Kylo's blade, but I don't consider that to be a good...
It is when Rey and Ben fight the Red Guards.
The Praetorians. Oh, sure, in Last Jedi.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But that's not even... That's not really a lightsaber fight, though. But even there, like...
They sort of fought on the like, that Storm World planet. In the rain.
That was Endor, the Death Star, wasn't it?
Was it? I don't remember a lot from The Last Jedi.
No, that was Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker, when they're fighting, and for some reason Kylo loses.
Well, he gets stabbed in the gut after Leia communicates with him, and it's like, Kylo. And he's like, Mother. And then Rey's like, cheap shot. But even that wasn't shot interestingly. Like, if you think about it, like, look at Revenge of the Sith, you can see all the action, even in Attack of the Clones. Yeah. It's bad, but I'd argue the worst segment in Attack of the Clones when it comes to combat was the bit between Anakin and Dooku after the power's been cut. But that is purely because Christopher Lee couldn't do the moves, so they were cutting a lot to try and hide that. But also, that at least had something interesting going for it, where the power goes out and they're just illuminated by the red and blue. Like, that looks so cool, it's so distinctive. So even though the fight itself isn't great, it's memorable.
Yeah.
Which is something that you can say for every single Star Wars movie except for the Disney trilogy. Because do you remember the lightsaber fight in The Force Awakens?
Between Rey and Kylo, kind of.
Did you remember that Finn fought first?
Yeah, Finn gets his back laser beamed and then...
Not that it matters. That is promptly forgotten about in the sequel.
Yeah, and then I remember the traitor scene, and then that laser electricity thing that can actually fight a lightsaber. And I was like, that's something interesting and new. Didn't know you guys made that, but it makes sense that after so many years you would have weapons that could fight back.
Fair, I'll give you that. Because I didn't find the Praetorian Guard one in The Last Jedi that great. Especially, I don't know if you've seen, like, people actually look at it and break it down, and you just see how horrendously done it is, where they're just weapons disappearing left and right, and like, or haven't you seen that? Okay, it's wild. Like, if you actually break down that fight scene, like, bit by bit, guys, like, they're just waiting, they're not, like, attacking at opportune moments, they're dropping weapons. It's really, really weird.
Is it as bad as Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight Rises, when he like shoots the tunnel and there's rubble everywhere and there's like 10 guys around Batman, and the one guy you can literally see jumps backwards? I was like, that is poor. How did Christopher Nolan let that happen?
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Star Wars.
It is pretty poor, to be honest. On the Star Wars front, though, I don't know. All of my problems come from the Disney sequel trilogy, if I'm honest. I can complain about things from the prequels, sure. There are even things from the OT.
Binks is so hated.
He is over the top. I rewatched The Phantom Menace the other day. He's over the top. He's not like as bad as people make him out to be, but he is distractingly annoying. Like, that is the best. And the worst part is like, I don't know if you've seen Ahmed Best at all, but like he seems like a pretty cool dude, and he got so much hate for playing Jar Jar. But it's like Jar Jar's annoying, yes, but it's not like Star Wars is ruined. It's like little scenes from the movie are kind of lessened.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, I enjoyed pod racing. I don't understand why that gets so much hate either.
Does pod racing get hate?
You know, people are like, oh, pod racing was so unnecessary. Like, I love pod racing.
Pod racing's phenomenal. Honestly, my only problem is, I think, honestly, The Phantom Menace buckled under the weight of having to set up the story that it needed to set up. Because, honestly, everything is needed, like, but I think they made a problem making Qui-Gon the protagonist. Because he was already a true Jedi. Like, he had nowhere further to go, and while you can do characters without arcs, it is difficult, you know?
Yeah.
And I think if you had the through line of Obi-Wan Kenobi is your protagonist more or less throughout all three, obviously keep Revenge of the Sith exactly the same. But especially Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones is all over the place in terms of like who it's supposed to be following and where.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. But the sequels did something far worse, in my opinion.
I mean, Phantom Menace gave us, I'd argue, best lightsaber battle.
Fair.
With Darth Maul.
That Duel of the Fates bit at the end is phenomenal.
Like, that is high stakes, that is intense. Very, very close to the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin in Revenge of the Sith.
Of course, yeah. Because that Mustafar battle, not to be funny, but that is like...
heart-wrenching.
That is heart-wrenching, dude. And it's so good. Like, have you seen all the behind-the-scenes stuff of Ewan and Hayden Christensen actually rehearsing those scenes, dude?
Oh, I gotta have a look at some of
It's like, it's crazy seeing how good they are in terms of swordplay. Yeah, no, it's wild. You must check it out. But the sequels... The Force Awakens was fine. A lot of people see it as a palate cleanser for after the prequels because of the hate that they got. If I'm honest, you didn't need that, but whatever. I think they made a mistake with The Force Awakens, though, because they just did A New Hope. They just said, we need to regain the essence of Star Wars, so they reskinned A New Hope, which I understand the mentality with. The problem is, it is very dependent on everything that comes afterwards. Because none of the questions that get raised in that movie get answered in that movie.
I don't think that's that movie's fault. I think they did the right thing with The Force Awakens. And they wanted to bring in that crowd. They wanted to say, hey, look, there's nostalgia. But look, that we're going to do something different now.
But you know what my problem with that is, Ewan? Not to be funny, but do you remember watching A Return of the Jedi, and finishing it on that party scene? Not being funny, but...
No, I don't remember finishing on the party scene. I remember Darth Vader's funeral and me going, respect.
Fair. But it's the party with the Ewoks and you see the ghosts and everything, right? Of course. But, that to me signals the Empire's done. Luke is going to move forward. Everyone who has fought in the rebellion is going to be trying to bring peace back to the galaxy, reinstate the New Republic, and bring the Jedi back. That was the Return of the Jedi is Anakin has returned, but Luke is bringing the Jedi back. That's the whole thing with the title. The Force Awakens opens with nothing having changed.
That was weird for me. Where
And that's
did
the
you people come from?
But that's my problem. Not being funny, but it was, we want that old school nostalgia fuel of A New Hope and Star Wars and to get people back in. But it doesn't mesh with where the story finished in Return of the Jedi, because realistically, this whole trilogy should have been about the New Republic and Luke's Jedi Academy coming under fire. Like, honestly. Instead, we got another trilogy of Empire versus Rebels. Just for one movie, they pretended to give them different names before swiftly dropping that in The Last Jedi.
I was so frustrated because throughout those 3 films, they're always sparking the rebellion.
Dude.
The rebellion needs to catch fire by some point. But for 3 movies, you're only sparking it.
Let me ask you this, right? In A New Hope, right, opening crawl, it's like, yeah, First Order rose from the remnants of the Empire. Fine. Whatever. I can roll with that. Princess Leia leads a bold rebellion alongside the New Republic. Why? Why isn't the New Republic involved? Why did you know the New Republic got its shit blown up? That's who they blow up with the new Death Star, basically. Starkiller Planet.
Wait.
Yeah, that's the thing. Did you even remember they blew up a planet in The Force Awakens?
I remember something to that effect.
That's my point.
Looking back at that movie, I think they could have gone in a more Attack of the Clones sort of way, where the
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, so you see that in the trailer, you saw the stormtroopers and stuff, and I was like, okay, cool. So they had government, and then government overthrown, Leia overthrown, new villains in charge. Cool, something for the Jedi to fight, something for them to go.
Oh, fair, okay, yeah.
You see, so establish your villains and establish who they're going to be fighting.
They didn't
and
establish
why.
anything, though.
Yeah, that's my thing. It started off with villainy already there, and you're wondering what the Republic did to allow this to happen.
Not to be funny, but honestly, the sequel trilogy feels like it takes place in the most boring time for galactic history. Because realistically, what happened just before the sequel trilogy? Luke's entire Jedi Order collapsed. The fucking First Order rose out of the Empire somehow. The New Republic became limp and useless. Like, there's a story back there. There's not a story here, though. Like...
Yeah, that is also true. They missed out on so much of the good stuff. Like, I'd rather have seen Kylo Ren being trained and turning evil than seeing it in a flashback.
They didn't even give it to us in a flashback, though. That flashback was 2 minutes, and it was Luke in the... Okay.
I'll admit Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens was menacing as hell, and I really enjoyed it.
He was well done.
Until he took his helmet off.
You know what? He was well done in The Force Awakens, and I can even understand them taking the helmet off.
In that
my
scene,
problem is...
the fact that they didn't let him keep it.
Yeah, my problem is he lost a lot of respect when he lost to Rey. Not being funny, but
he shouldn't have lost to Rey.
He shouldn't have lost to Rey, and all she did was close her eyes and be like, the Force. And then she just kicked his ass.
Like,
and then the literal Earth...
The Force works. Oh wait, Harrison Ford says that.
Yeah, Harrison Ford says in that movie, ironically.
That's not how the Force works.
That, you could honestly use that to sum up the entire sequel trilogy. That's not how the Force works. Just, God. Because literally, remember, after she lets the Force in, the very Earth itself splits and separates them so that she can't murder the fuck out of Kylo Ren. Like, come on. But I think, honestly, The Force Awakens left enough breadcrumbs to take the series forward. It was the last. Let's be honest. The Last Jedi crippled Star Wars. Flat out, it crippled Star Wars.
Yeah. It stopped any of those characters from being able to grow in a meaningful way.
Yeah, hundreds. Honestly,
because by the time you get to the third movie, you still don't know anything about them. You still don't care.
Well, not to be funny, but a lot of people have lauded The Last Jedi as being like, oh, it could have gone anywhere after that movie. Like, Star Wars could have gone in any new direction. Rian Johnson did this magical feat or whatever. My problem is, it couldn't have. Realistically, The Last Jedi ends with Rey saying, I am firmly entrenched in the light, fuck you, Kylo. And Kylo being like, I am full badass. Like, that is... that is it. there is nowhere else interesting, as opposed to, say, ending with Kylo being like, take my hand, join me. And then you end, you cut that film, you're done, you don't need the last half hour. And then you've got somewhere to go with the third movie. But honestly, the amount they borrowed in fucking heavy air quotes from Return of the Jedi for that movie was crazy. Like, that whole thing where she's brought before Snoke, that is cut and paste Return of the Jedi, Luke versus Palpatine. Like, literally, even the whole look out the window and your friends are being blown up thing.
There was also such a cheap shot that we didn't even get to find anything out about him.
About Snoke. That as well.
He was so powerful as well. That was so interesting.
Well, we did get to find out about him in The Rise of Skywalker.
That was
bad.
Cheap as well.
That was poor. My problem is, Rian Johnson was like, oh, Kylo Ren's going to be the main villain. But he hadn't been given anything in either movies. Fuck it, anything in any three of the movies. Even after he's supposedly the main villain in The Rise of Skywalker, he's still not. Like, Palpatine still comes in and is like, ow. Like, okay, hear me out. He goes up to Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker. I'm jumping now, but hear me out. He goes to Palpatine, he's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna murder the shit out of you. Palpatine's like, no, don't do that. Tell you what, son, if you don't murder me, I'll give you a big army. And Kylo's like, you know what? I'll take that big army. Why? He's got the big army. Like, he has control of Palpatine's like, I'll give you the galaxy. Doesn't he have the galaxy? What is going on? Why is nothing clear to me? Like, you can say what you want about the prequels. You can trash on them all you like. But when you put one of the movies in, you know where the galaxy's at. I put on The Phantom Menace. I know the Republic is in a shitty state, but it's at peace. Like, Darth Sidious is about to step in and upend some shit. Attack of the Clones. Republic on the brink of war. Places are seceding. Look at the OT. The Empire's in charge. The Rebellion's a ragtag group trying to fight them. Empire strikes back. Rebellion's being squashed. The Empire's chasing them down, hunting them to the furthest corner. Like, in every Star Wars movie, I know what is going on in the galaxy. I do not know what the fuck is going on in the sequel trilogy at all. At all.
That's fair.
And then all it does is give me a worse ending of Return of the Jedi. With the ultimate disrespect being, I'm Rey Skywalker. No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm sorry.
I'm glad they brought Ben back to the light. I'm glad they did. Because that was something cool. That was something I was hoping for from the beginning. I was like, cool, but now I also would like to see Rey turn and be evil. Because I would have very much preferred that.
You know what I would have enjoyed? Last Jedi, Kylo turns to the light, Rey turns to the dark. Ended like that.
Perfect. Yeah.
I would
exactly
have
how I've been dreaming about it. Like, you know, when Rey gets to, like, the dark eyes and then the black things over here?
Yeah.
I'm gesturing to my face. But, like, you know what I'm talking about. Her Sith look would be so cool. With the double-ended staff, just like a Darth Maul, because she used to fight with a staff.
That's the thing, though. None of the characters were consistent. Like, take Finn. The only thing Finn being a stormtrooper counted for was giving him all the information necessary to save everything and everyone. Honestly, like, all Finn's stormtrooper background amounted to was, I have unlimited knowledge about everything the First Order's doing, despite him being a janitor of all things. That's the wild thing. Do you remember that? In The Force Awakens, and the third act, Han's like, how do you know about all this? And he's like, I used to mop the floors here. Alright? Why would they put a janitor into combat in the opening sequence? Why? Why are you doing this, First Order? Like, and if we're gonna rag on that first movie, Kylo Ren, what the fuck are you doing? He lands on the sand planet, is like, you've got the map to Luke Skywalker, takes the dude up to his ship, and if you just told me he had the plans, why don't you check the planet? What's bringing him up to... Because think about it like this. Let's say Poe cracks, right? Poe reveals under his interrogation what he did with the plans. He goes, I put it in my droid BB-8. BB-8 fucked off. Kylo Ren's got to come back down to the planet. He's got to come back down. Like, why not just torture him on the surface of the planet so when he's like, I left it on the planet, you can be like, good. There's so many logical jumps that are made that are just stupid. And, like, Rose, the Canto bite thing in The Last Jedi.
She's the worst. She's the worst.
I feel so bad.
She's worse than Jar Jar. She's worse than Jar Jar. I can't believe she would bring Finn down. He was going to complete his arc, he was going to save everyone, he was going to blow their shit to pieces.
Dude. I feel so bad for Kelly Mary Tran.
She gets a lot of hate.
She gets a lot of hate. It's not her fault. That writing on Rose is just horrendous.
And then she kisses Finn and he's like, from where?
Yeah.
From who?
Yeah. But okay, her crashing into him is wild. But let's take it back to their meeting, shall we? Okay.
She tases him, doesn't he?
She tases him when he's like, I'm trying to take this GPS so my friend doesn't arrive to a bloodbath. I will have you know, last time I checked, the rebellion, or the resistance, whatever you fucking want to call it, was not conscription-based. Like, Han Solo was free to fuck off. Finn should equally be free to fuck off. This chick is just going around tasing people and calling them deserters. Like, think about that. Why is this a likable character? It's not.
It's not.
Like,
also, because you know that she's wrong. But then they never, like, let her let it go.
But see, that's the exact same thing with Holdo. You know she's wrong, but she won't admit it. Like,
that was horrible too.
Because not being funny, The Last Jedi sets you up to be like, Holdo's the bad guy. Like, legitimately, everything is filmed for you to be like, she is the bad guy. Only for her to be like, I was trying to do a noble thing. No. Like, not to be funny, there is a moment where Poe is on the bridge, literally. He's not even asking for details of the plan. He's literally like, tell me there is a plan. Just nod your head, tell me you've got something, tell us, tell this entire crew that there is still hope. And she just looks at him. And you're like, why couldn't you be like, yes. Yes, there is still hope. He would have been fine. He wouldn't have mutinied, he wouldn't have what are you on?
It is her fault.
It is entirely her fault. And not to be funny, but the entire time, ships are being blown up around them, and Poe's like, tell me what to do. Give me something to do. And she's like, go sit in your corner. I've got this under control. Like, madness. That doesn't make sense.
This is something that Hollywood actually tends to do a lot. This is going to sound really messed up, but they make a female character.
Yeah.
They put them at odds with a male character where you know that the male character is in the right.
Yeah.
And then they make the female character feel like she's doing something good, but everyone in the audience knows that she's in the wrong, and they make you hate that character, which is not very good. Like, and they've done it in quite a few movies. Like, the one example is from that Jamie Foxx movie where he's looking for his son.
Okay.
He's literally undercover, and you have this female police officer, like, thinking that she's bringing down this corrupt cop, but he's under fucking cover.
Yeah.
Trying to save his son. So he stashes, like, microphones and stuff in the bathroom, so he's going to get them on tape and stuff like that. And, like, he stashes a bunch of things up, and she goes in there. She takes what he stashed away, so he comes in for the deal to get his son back. He opens it up and nothing is there. And then she tries to arrest him. And you're just like, you're the worst.
Yeah.
You think you're doing something right, but, like, if you just, went into your own department's, like, who is currently working on this fucking case? Who is currently undercover? You would have seen it.
Yeah. But if I'm honest, I think The Last Jedi struggles with very heavily trying to push a message. Like, the entire Canto Bite thing, that is all just pushing a message. Like, think about it. That whole, and it's childish as well.
Could have come from the movie and it would have made no difference.
Literally no difference. But like I don't know if you remember, you might have fucking blocked it out, but literally there's that moment where they stampede through the casino, Finn and Rose, and they're going whatever, and, you know, Finn looks over the city that's like in ruins, and he's like, well, it was worth it to make them hurt. And then Rose looks at him, frees the animal, and goes, no, now it's worth it. The animal's just gonna get captured again. Like, we're seeing these droid ships hunting you down. These animals are getting put back in. Those slaves that you were like, who helped you, are probably getting beaten for the fact that they now need to clean an entire city. Like, the problem is, it is pushing a very specific message, but it's doing it clumsily. And then we're being told that we just don't understand the film.
Another thing where people mess up trying to send a good message. Have you the Artemis Fowl? Have you ever read it?
I've never read it, but I've heard good things about it, and I've heard very trash things about it.
So good. The movie frustrated the crap out of me. So the one thing is, Holly Short is supposed to be the first female officer, right?
Okay.
But what they do is they take her commander, Julia's Root, and they made her Judi Dench, who's obviously a woman.
A woman.
Right? So they were like, haha, look, female empowerment. And then everyone who read the book went, but the female empowerment was already there with Holly.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Now she's not the female, now she's not the only female on the force.
Yeah.
So now she's not
You've lost that original message, yeah.
So, like, what is it exactly that you were trying to do? I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, not to be funny, but it's that where they've got in their head this idea of this is what I want to see, and they will move heaven and earth as filmmakers to make it happen. Like take Ryan Johnson for example. I'll just cast everything he did with Luke. Okay, all of it was like. When I first saw Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, I thought, this is actually interesting. You know what? This is an interesting direction to take Luke Skywalker, because Luke Skywalker is traditionally the optimist, all right? And seeing it, I was like, wow, what could have happened to make him this jaded, this cynical, this hateful, right? I'm still wondering. They didn't explain shit. Because, for all you people who are like, oh, but he looked into Ben Solo, Kylo Ren's mind, he saw darkness. I will counter with, that's all well and good. Darth Vader, okay, Luke didn't feel darkness there. He watched that shit, okay? He watched it happen, was like, you know what? There could still be good in him. He saw his sleeping nephew, and this is the part that gets me. He says he sensed the darkness growing in him, which means he went in there expecting to see darkness, and he still tried to kill his nephew. Like that to me isn't Luke Skywalker.
Makes sense. Why did you not kill him instead of leading him down the right path?
Like Ewan, why would he
went
kill
into the thing to go face his own darkness? Do you remember that?
The cave, yeah.
The same? Apply the same?
If he's not going to kill Darth Vader, who quite literally tortured his friends, why would he kill his nephew, who has done nothing except think some fucked up shit?
Plus, he was during puberty. Of course, he's going to think some messed up things.
Thank you. For fuck. And the worst part is, it is two flashbacks, the same moment that are both 3 minutes long each, and they give you nothing of substance. Except for, he was gonna kill me. Oh, no, it was, I was ashamed, he caught me in an awkward spot. Then it's, oh, Luke didn't tell you the truth, he was gonna kill me. Then it's, well, I told you half the truth, I was caught in an awkward spot, and I did consider killing him. That's not character development. What the fuck happened? What happened to Luke Skywalker in the interim between Return of the Jedi and when we see him in this flashback? What happened? That is the interesting story I would much rather see.
Also, what happened to Yoda? Why is he so weird? He looks so strange.
Yoda, it was weird because they even made this whole thing of going back to the puppets, original mold and all that.
Yeah.
It looked weird. It looked odd.
It was an ugly puppet.
There was something off about Yoda.
Yeah.
And that's not even looking at his writing and all that.
Plus, he summoned lightning.
From the dead, yeah. Force ghosts can just... Which raises the question,
why didn't they...
what's the point of being alive? If you can use the Force as a Force ghost, what are the benefits to being alive? What are they? Because Yoda should have gone to Exegol and been like, yo, Palpatine, lightning. When Luke died and became a Force ghost, he should have been like, Ray, go to Exegol. Oh wait, shit, I'm gonna do it myself. Hang on. I'll be the hero of the story like it was meant to be. God. Genuine. I've never felt such anger course through me as when Ray flies Luke's X-Wing wearing his helmet, and I was just like, nope. No. Not like that. Don't do me like this. Not okay. I'm not happy about that.
Hashtag not my Luke.
Hashtag not my hero. Goodness. But that's the thing. Rey was all over the place. Every single movie.
Also, like, she established no relationship, like, no decent relationship with Luke or Leia, but she claimed the surname in the end.
I'm willing to cut them some slack with Leia, but not with Luke. She had no relationship with Luke at all. Question.
In Force Awakens, why does Leia hug Rey at all and not say, "Who the fuck are you"?
Why does she ignore Chewbacca? That is my real... think about this, Ewan. The Falcon lands, they walk off as a crew, and Chewbacca walks straight past her. That should tell you where these people's minds were when they were making these movies. Not to be funny, because any common Star Wars fan would say if you kill off Han or Chewie, you show the other fucking morning. You give them space. It's still...
Did you know that Chewie is the best? Chewie's an angel. Chewie's an angel. What has he ever done wrong? Nothing. He's the best.
And you raise a valid point. Why does Leia hug Rey?
I'm so terrible. When Rey did the lightning in
The Rise of Skywalker.
I thought that they killed Chewie. I was like, I'm ready to walk out. If Chewie is dead, I'm walking out. He does not go out like that.
But they
show some fucking respect.
But you know what? They didn't even have the balls to kill anyone off in The Rise of Skywalker, other than Palpatine, again. But let me ask you this. What makes this any different? Do you know how he came back? What stops him from doing it again?
Why did he take so long? He had so many Star Destroyers. We've seen what those things are capable of. Why did he
they didn't leave the planet?
Send them?
Think about this. I genuinely want you to think about this, right? This is what happened. Palpatine must have finally finished that fleet. It would have finished. He sent out word into the galaxy. He was like, I'm going to fuck you all up. And then got crapped on. Because, first off, why would he tell everyone he's going to come kill them? The ships didn't get out of the base. They didn't move.
Made the same mistake 2 times.
Dude.
Having the one weakness take down everything.
I will say, though, Ian McDiarmid was trying his heart out. He was going full Dinkum Palpatine there. He was trying his hardest. And I respect him for that. He still got the chops.
I did enjoy Kylo fighting his own squad.
Sure, but that was also weird. He ran in there with a blaster, his whole squad appears, and he's like, I don't have a weapon. And then they're like, if you don't have a weapon, you're shit. Surely Kylo Ren should be able to fight somewhat better than that without a lightsaber. The lightsaber isn't everything, surely. Because as soon as Rey gave him the lightsaber from herself, he fucking kicked their asses. So why wasn't he doing There's even that
also
stupid
long
moment.
distance, just stand a couple of meters back, and as they run towards you, just bap them. Just take them out.
Dude, I will say though, I will say, Adam Driver is probably one of the best actors to be in Star Wars, and he was wasted, utterly wasted.
They made him such a crybaby like Maguire in Spider-Man 3.
Harsh, but fair.
He was so cool in Force Awakens. Why did he become such a whiny bitch in the other two?
I don't know if you remember all those theories that came out after The Force Awakens released, where it was like, oh, he's playing the dark side. As in, Han sent him undercover. But that was the thing. The whole thing was Han sent him undercover because there's that moment where Han grabs the lightsaber and he's like, I don't know if I've got the strength to do it. And Han's like, I'll help you. And people are like, is Han killing himself because he knows Ben can't do it, and if he doesn't do it, it's covers, but
that would have been so much more interesting.
But that's what I'm saying, there's so many avenues they could have gone, and they went for the worst option every single time.
And then it happened, and Chewie immediately shot him. Not mortally wounded, just shot him. Made
But,
it
like-
believable. I'll full go with that theory. I would have preferred that.
Literally. But, like, not to be funny, you look at the sequel trilogy, it is just a ruin of wasted potential.
Rule of two.
Fair.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that.
No.
I did not like that. It was interesting at the beginning, and they explained what it was, and I didn't like it.
Which one are you talking about now?
The fact that Rand and Kylo...
Oh, the dyad.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like it at all. I wasn't a fan of the dyad thing.
Force healing. That's ridiculous. I didn't like that.
Anakin is turning in his grave, my dude. Anakin is having a hernia. Because that was the whole reason. That was the whole reason he felt... He was like, how do I save my wife? They were like, you can't accept it. It's not a Jedi power to save, you know? And,
His mom
Darth Sidious was
and
like...
his wife.
Darth Sidious was like, a natural avenue with the dark side. And he was like... That's the only thing I've ever heard of. I'm gonna go with that. Like, doesn't he look like a right prick now? Like, an untrained girl was just like, I'm gonna heal a mortal injury. And Anakin's the chosen one.
Anakin was way stronger than everyone. Surely he was born of some sort of miracle. He was basically Skywalker Jesus.
He basically was Jesus. He was Space Jesus.
He was immaculately concepted, right?
Literally, yeah. And the whole thing is that Darth Plagueis, Darth Sidious's master, created him using like midi-chlorians and all that. But like,
He's literally made of the Force, but Rey can do it.
Hear me out. You know when he's meditating with Yoda, and Yoda's like, "Oh, you sense death in your future and all that." And why wasn't Yoda like, "Yo, dude, just chill. Force healing's the thing. It's fine. Like, don't even fret." It's so dumb. It breaks everything. It breaks it all. Like the crux of Star Wars just gets shat on, and you're just like, but why? But
like,
why?
Why didn't they watch the old movies first before going forward?
Dude.
If you're gonna make a sequel, surely watch the first.
You'd think that, hey.
Surely watch the first.
Oh, okay, but now let's talk about the knife. Because I've got issues with the knife. Do you remember the knife in The Rise of Skywalker? That leads you to the mighty MacGuffin that'll lead you to...
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna raise this. This is a knife that was made post-Return of the Jedi, okay? Because it has to line up with the ruins of the Death Star, alright? I want you to think about it. It lines up with the ruins of the Death Star. That means you have to be standing in a very specific spot. How lucky is Rey that they approached from that side? Imagine if they'd rocked up 20 Ks. Like, fuck it, 5 meters left. You would have been shit out of luck. Like, shit out of luck. You were fucked. You weren't finding this thing. Like, you had to be standing in the exact right... And the worst part is, the assassin used this knife to kill people. Why? Why was this knife made? Why was it being used? Why did it lead you to the MacGuffin? What was going on? What was going on? Who was drunk and writing the script?
Why did Rey fight a dark version of herself for 3 seconds?
That's called clickbait. Like, jeez.
It made no sense to me. 3-second battle.
It was literally... It did the scary, like, Lord of the Rings Bilbo teeth thing, where it was like, nah! And then Kylo was there like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? Am I interrupting something? It's so bad.
Someone sent me something that was so much better than what they did. You know,
no.
Ben has that thing where they're standing on the ledge, and then he sees Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
They edit Harrison
They edited
Ford.
Anakin Skywalker in.
Anakin's coming to talk to him.
Okay, can we
so
talk?
much better.
Can we talk about
You're
how...
not evil, you dumb bitch. Take this lightsaber. Go fix what you did. You know what you did. Go fix it.
Why was Kylo Ren so obsessed with Darth Vader, with Anakin Skywalker, and we didn't see Anakin Skywalker at all? He was just a voice amongst many. And for that matter, why were so many Jedi voices there? How did Mace Windu... How did Mace... Because it's insinuating that they obviously would have become Force Ghosts.
How did so many of them become Force Ghosts? I thought that was something special.
Obi-Wan and Yoda was like, because remember, Qui-Gon's supposed to be the first. He taught Yoda, who taught Obi-Wan. That's supposed to be the whole thing. Nah, I guess not. Mace Windu, Ayla Secura, Kanan Jarrus, apparently from Rebels. Anakin spoke.
How did he learn about becoming a Force Ghost?
Anakin. They explain it in like Legends and all that, but that is a plot hole from the OT all the way back in, technically. Yeah. Although it's not even technically a plot hole for the OT because all the Force Ghost stuff only came about in Legends and all that, and it's a very fun thing. But in Legends,
but that's supposed to be the whole thing between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Yoda.
Well,
this was like a thing that they were searching for.
Yeah, in Legends, the thing is, as Anakin died, Obi-Wan pulled his spirit,
That's cool, that's dope, because they were besties.
Yeah, so it was basically Obi-Wan pulled his spirit, because, he dies, he goes into, the nether realm of the Force, basically. Obi-Wan pulls his spirit aside and is like, listen here, shut up, I know you're sorry. If you want to see your kids again, follow my instructions. And then it's like, thank you, and then that's how he does it. But yeah, I think there's a bit touch and go there with the whole Force Ghost thing with Anakin.
I love it though. I love the interaction between Obi-Wan and Anakin. I'm always up for them.
My thing is though, honestly, Anakin should have been somewhere in the sequel trilogy. With the amount Kylo Ren was obsessed with him.
Yeah. How did he even get so obsessed? Why
wasn't Anakin speaking? What was going on? But that's my thing. We weren't told shit. We were just told, this director wants to tell the story. Not being funny, that's exactly what happened with all three movies.
Why would they hype up Vader in any way that Kylo could look up to him?
Yeah. No, I don't know. It makes no sense.
Vader lost. Anakin came back.
Well, not to be funny, even in, so they do the whole thing in The Force Awakens where it's I will finish what you started, Vader, that whole thing. And then in The Last Jedi, Snoke insults him once and he's like, I'm never gonna look up to Darth Vader again. And in The Force Awakens, in The Rise of Skywalker, he's like, Darth Vader's the best, all over again, right? Why? Why? What is going on? Not to be funny, but in The Last Jedi, you kind of did what Vader couldn't. You killed Snoke. I didn't like it, but you did it. Then you immediately went to being Palpatine's bitch, apparently. What's up with that?
You were in charge and you went to being second again.
Literally.
He chose.
Also that we could get a crappier version of Return of the Jedi again. Because that's what that ending is. It's Return of the Jedi.
It was very bad.
It was very bad. It was horrendous. And I wish Disney would stop making Star Wars content, if I'm honest. I enjoy The Mandalorian. I've watched season 1. I haven't gotten through season 2 yet. I've seen all the Boba Fett I've seen all the Boba Fett spoilers, the Ahsoka stuff. Yeah, it's Joel, dude. Boba Fett.
My favorite scene from the latest Star Wars stuff is when the two clones are trying to shoot that thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow, we suck. Isn't that,
Alright, so the last 20 minutes of the Star Wars rant there got cut off due to technical difficulties. So instead we'll just leave it there and sign off saying thank you for listening. I've been Ryan.
And I've been Ewan.
Thanks guys, cheers.